Imagine a world where you wake up in the morning, stretch, look out the window, and in a moment you find yourself on top of Mount Everest, holding a cup of coffee. Or you remember that you forgot your wallet at home while standing in line at a store in another country, and in a second you return to get it without losing your place in line. What if every person on Earth could instantly teleport anywhere? No planes, no cars, no tickets. Just think and you're there. Sounds like a dream, right? But would it really be as cool as it seems at first glance? Or would this gift turn into chaos that we can't even imagine? Today we're going to dive into this crazy idea and try to understand how our world would change if teleportation became a part of our lives. Think about it. You could have breakfast in Paris near the Eiffel Tower, work in an office in Tokyo, and sunbathe on a beach in Australia in the evening, all in the same day. No traffic jams, no flight delays, no, oops, I missed my train. But wait a minute, what would happen to national borders? How would governments control who teleports to where? And wouldn't there be people teleporting right into your home to steal your favorite pillow? Or would we all live in a perfect world where there are no distances, only possibilities? Or vice versa, a world where privacy and order simply disappeared? This topic is not just a fantasy. It makes us think about the way we live now. We are used to distance being a barrier. But what if it disappeared? How would this affect our work, our families, even the way we communicate? Imagine, you're arguing with a friend and he just poof and teleports to the other side of the planet to cool off. Or you could visit your grandmother thousands of kilometers away every day just to say hi. But wouldn't we lose something important? For example, the value of travel, anticipation, that feeling of I finally got there? In this video, we'll figure out how teleportation would change everything, from the economy to the environment, from our homes to our dreams. We'll play with ideas that seem crazy but at the same time logical. Would we become happier? Or on the contrary, would we be stuck in a new kind of chaos? And most importantly, are we ready for such a world? So sit back, grab some popcorn, and let's imagine together what would happen if one day we all woke up with the superpower of teleportation. Are you ready? Because this video is not just a fantasy, it's a journey into a world that may be closer than we think. And who knows, maybe at the end, you'll want to teleport yourself, at least in the comments to say what you think. So, we have already imagined waking up in a world where teleportation is not a fantasy, but a reality. Each of us can be anywhere in an instant, in the jungle of the Amazon, on the icy peak of Antarctica, or even in the apartment next door to borrow sugar. But what would this mean for our lives? Let's figure out, step by step, how the world would change if distances simply disappeared. The first thing that comes to mind is cities. Imagine, the roads are empty, the metro does not hum, the airports stand abandoned. Why build huge highways or spend billions on high-speed trains if you can teleport from Kiev to Odessa in a second? The cities as we know them would begin to transform. People could live where they like, not where there is work. Someone would settle on picturesque islands, someone in the mountains, and someone in floating houses in the middle of the ocean. But would megacities disappear altogether? Maybe so. Or maybe on the contrary, new centers would appear where people would gather simply for the sake of communication or culture and not out of necessity. And what about the economy? Imagine how trade would change. Shops could disappear because goods would be delivered instantly. The seller teleports to you with a purchase. Logistics, which now costs trillions, would simply disappear into thin air. But these are not only pluses. Millions of people who work as drivers, pilots, and logisticians would be left without jobs. At the same time, new professions would appear. For example, teleportation regulators, who would make sure that no one appears in your bathroom without permission. Companies could hire employees from anywhere in the world, because the office would simply become a point on the map where everyone jumps for 5 minutes. And now about borders. In a world of teleportation, countries would face a huge problem. How to control who gets where, visas, passports, customs, all this would become useless. Someone from North Korea could teleport to Europe, bypassing all prohibitions. Governments would probably invent teleportation blockers, technologies that would prohibit entry to certain territories. But would it work? Hackers could crack such systems, and the black market would offer teleportation keys to closed areas. Maybe borders would disappear altogether, and we would become a single global community? Or vice versa, would wars begin for control of this superpower? Ecology, another interesting point. Without cars, planes, and ships, CO2 emissions would plummet. Nature would breathe a sigh of relief. But wouldn't we start littering remote corners of the planet? Imagine, millions of people teleporting to Hawaii or the Alps just for the weekend. Tropical forests could turn into landfills, and wild animals would flee from crowds of tourists. On the other hand, we could easily save ecosystems, teleporting garbage for recycling or quickly responding to disasters such as forest fires. And how would we ourselves change? People would probably become more spontaneous. There would be no need to plan a vacation a year in advance. You just want to, and you're already in Bali. But wouldn't we lose patience and the ability to appreciate the journey to the destination? Travel, which used to be an adventure, would become commonplace. Perhaps there would be a movement of slow travelers who would deliberately walk to experience the romance of the past. And then there's social connections. You could see your friends and family every day, no matter how far away. But wouldn't that get boring? Maybe we'd start to appreciate solitude more than we do now? Security is a separate issue. Imagine a criminal teleporting into a bank, grabbing money, and disappearing. The police would have to develop teleportation traps or detectors. What about privacy? Someone could jump into your bedroom just out of curiosity. We'd have to invent anti-teleportation shields for homes. Society would likely be divided, with some enjoying freedom, others demanding strict rules. And what about culture? The arts could flourish. Imagine concerts where musicians teleport between stages around the world in a matter of minutes. Sports would change. Teleported soccer would look like a chaotic game of catch me. Languages could merge into one, because we would communicate with anyone every day. But wouldn't we lose the uniqueness of cultures through such globalization? Teleportation seems like a gift, but it would also bring challenges. Would we become freer, but would we be happier? Would we learn to appreciate what we have when everything became so accessible? This world is both a utopia and a dystopia, and it all depends on how we, as humans, would deal with it. So, you and I have plunged into an incredible world where teleportation has become a reality. We have seen cities lose their roads, and people lose their need for them, economies are turned upside down, and borders are dissolved in the air. We have imagined nature sighing with relief at the disappearance of airplanes, but at the same time trembling at the crowds teleporting to the jungle or to glaciers. We have even wondered if we would lose something important. Patience, the joy of waiting, a sense of adventure, if everything became so easy. This world is both fascinating and frightening, because teleportation is not just a superpower, but a key that opens the door to a completely new way of life. What did we understand? Teleportation could give us the freedom we dream of. No barriers, no far away. But with this freedom would come new rules, new problems, new conflicts. Governments would fight for control, criminals would look for loopholes, and we, the common people, would try to find a balance between opportunity and peace. Would we be happier? Maybe. Or maybe we would just miss the good old traffic jams and long flights that gave us time to think. This idea shows how much we depend on what we think of as limitations, and how quickly they can become what we value. But the most interesting thing is that teleportation makes us think about ourselves right now. We live in a world where distances still exist, and maybe that's not so bad. Maybe the value is not in getting somewhere instantly, but in the journey itself. Are we ready for a world where everything is available in a second? And would we lose ourselves if we gain such power? These are questions that have no clear answer, but they make us look at our lives in a new way. So what do you think, friends? How would you use teleportation? Where would you jump first? To the beach, to your friends, or maybe into space if you could? Or maybe you would prefer to remain a slow traveler and enjoy the journey? Write in the comments. I'm super curious to know your opinion. And if you like this journey into the world of what if, don't forget to like it. It really helps us move forward. And subscribe to the channel, because there are many more crazy ideas ahead that we will figure out together. Imagine, next time we can think about what would happen if people lived forever, or if we could read each other's minds. What would you choose? Thank you for joining me on this imaginary adventure. Teleportation remains a dream for now, but who knows? Maybe one day we will wake up in such a world. In the meantime, let's appreciate what we have and dream of more. See you in the next video. And may your thoughts teleport to the coolest ideas. Bye.